How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Dog Pound here on Time Warner Cable. I am your host, Ben Heisler, here for another exciting edition of Inside the Dog Pound, and we are joined today by one player today, although he's filled in a couple different roles for this Swamp Dogs team. I'm pleased to be joined by the lefty from Saugus, California. That's Chipper Smith. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
How are you?
Good, you?
I'm doing well. So my question is, and we're supposed to have Johnny Montoya on today to join you as well. You guys come from pretty far areas. You come all the way from the West Coast over in California.
Exactly.
He comes from Venezuela. So my first question to you is, how'd you end up finding about the Swamp Dogs? What was that connection in, and how did you ultimately end up here?
Just kind of random, actually. I was just out at my friend's house one day, and I got a phone call from my coach, and he was like, "You want to go to North Carolina?" And I was just, "For what?" And he's like, "To go play baseball." And I was, "Yeah, let's go." So next day I get a call from JP, and he tells me be here by 6 o'clock tomorrow. Go play my game in the morning, pack, and I'm at the airport by 12 in the morning, here by 6.
No kidding. So all of a sudden it was just right away packing up and ready to go.
Pretty much just got up and left.
I mean, what were you doing at the beginning part of the summer, and then ultimately, how did you maybe start to think that maybe a little summer ball would be good for me?
Well, I was playing summer ball back home on a scout ball team back there, and just living summer, and then got the call and was like, it's a little more competitive and better players and whatnot, so I just went.
And so JP has that West Coast connection. For those of you who don't know who JP is, that's Jason Plord, is the pitching coach. So he's based out of California. So how did you hear through JP about the connection?
He used to play back in California at a school that's in my conference, and he knows my coach, and my coach, I guess, got a hold of him, or he got a hold of my coach, and now I'm here.
So tell me a little bit about Saugus, California. That's your hometown, right?
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about it, sort of what the city is like, what the people are like. Are you close to the beach? What is Saugus like to those of us here on the East Coast?
That's everyone's question. Where's the beach? Beaches are pretty close. Beaches are nice. It's hot, but it's not dry like here. It's really humid here. But kind of big town where I live. A lot of people, cool people where I live. Nothing too exciting though. But yeah, you have the beaches and pretty close. You can get up and drive there and be an hour each way you go to the beach. Are
you close to Los Angeles as well?
About 45 minutes.
Okay, so I'm sure you probably grew up watching a lot of the Los Angeles teams play. So you a Dodger fan?
Dodger fan.
All right, so take me back. Have you been in Dodger Stadium before?
Bunch of times.
All right, so take me back to that first game that you were ever at Dodger Stadium. Do you remember it? Do you remember who was playing, anyone that was pitching? What stood out for you in that game?
I honestly couldn't remember that far back at all. I wish I could. But no, I've been to a lot of games out there. It's a fun crowd. Now we got Manny there. But
he's something else.
Yeah.
He's something else. Someone was making the joke the other day. Of course, Manny got that 50-game suspension for steroids, and someone made the joke that if you've seen his hair lately, it looks like his hair's on steroids. But he's been contributing for the Dodgers, and I'm sure at least for you this year, they've been a fun team to watch.
Definitely.
All right. So what about you? Obviously grew up in California. And you watched some Dodger games, but take me back a little bit back to your first game. I don't know if you remember your first. Was it a T-ball game, Little League game? You remember that first baseball experience that you had?
Actually, I do.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Growing up where I live in Palmdale, it was about like half an hour from where I live now. A little Park and Recs game, my little long hair, my pants high, my little sweatband, trying to be like my dad, and just going out there and having fun, not worrying about anything now, not about winning.
How long was the hair? Did you have it like down to here? Or did you have it down to here?
Pretty long.
So like the Tim Lincecum look, maybe?
No, that was last year.
Oh, that was last year. So you've gone short pretty recently.
Yeah, my high school coach senior year is like, you need to shave your head or you can't play. It was pretty long.
So he laid down the line.
Yep, definitely.
Now, did you know when you were a kid, playing T-ball, playing Little League at the rec center, that you wanted to be a pitcher, or when did all of that click for you?
I was always a pitcher, outfield, first baseman. Couldn't really play mid to infield positions because I was left-handed. Played a little bit of third growing up, but didn't really pursue pitching like full-time until I got to high school. Mostly my senior year, I put infield and outfield and pitching, but freshman year in college is when strictly just went pitching, and it's worked out well for me.
I want to get back to pitching in just a second, but I always like to find out from lefties who played infield growing up. Because if I were a lefty, I would be so frustrated about this. The fact that your quote-unquote lefties can't play catcher, can't play the infield.
No
You think
shortstop.
that's fair?
No. I love playing shortstop even though I suck at it, but it's just a fun position to get a lot of ground balls. But I grew up playing first base, which is close enough to shortstop for me.
Okay. Yeah, because you're still getting ground balls and dirt and stuff like that. All right, so let's go back to pitching for a second. Obviously, you said you started to focus on it a little bit more in high school, and that's when it started to click for you. Take us back to that time when you were pitching and how you learned ultimately your control. You got an interesting wind-up thing going on. Tell us a little bit about how you ultimately became a pitcher and use it really throughout your college career.
Well, I'm still young in college. I just finished my freshman year, but high school I was playing outfield and pitching was more successful. I'm not the best hitter in the world, but senior year pitching started getting good, and my team was terrible, but I did my best. I'd fight through everything, and then college, pretty much they told me it's the end of your hitting career, so every day just focus on pitching, which helped out. You get more practice pitching, not have to worry about playing outfield or hitting or anything, so it ended up working out well for me.
Do you miss it at all?
Yeah, I miss hitting. I like batting practice, some BP.
So they'll let you take BP here over at the SwampDogs, let you get a couple of cuts in every so often.
If we throw a shutout, if us pitchers throw a shutout, we get pitchers BP.
So you got it last time out.
No, that's the thing. We never got it for our last two shutouts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to say something to the coach. We'll have to show them the tape or something like that.
See what's going on.
We're visiting with Chipper Smith here on Inside the Dog Pound on Time Warner Cable. All right, so we talked about players and we talked about the Dodgers. And so one thing that I'm wondering is, as a kid, we all grow up idolizing different players and maybe copying their stance, perhaps their wind-up. Was there a player like that for you when you were growing up, a guy that you just watched and you just loved to watch play the game?
Well, you like watching Randy Johnson because he does throw really hard, and he's got his long hair and he's huge, but no one really that I grew up watching a lot. I like John Lester a lot, and cool guy and inspirational, surviving cancer and coming back and throwing a no-hitter. That's what I like watching now a lot, is John Lester.
He's a guy. He's a guy that sort of reminds me of your style. A guy that likes to throw. And talk a little bit about what you throw. We mentioned it earlier. You got a fastball, a curveball, change. What ultimately got you to those pitches, and how did you decide on those specifically?
Well, I didn't really throw a changeup till this year. I threw a knuckleball, but recently,
really,
yeah. I threw a knuckleball, but I got to college and we're taking that out too. So I learned a changeup, and it's been working really well for me. Really well for me. Don't think I'd be where I am now without it. But throw the curveball, having trouble with it here though a little bit, but fastball's been fine. So just thank God for the changeup.
So from that perspective, if you're throwing that changeup, can you use it almost in the sense of the way that you would use a breaking ball, just to keep hitters off balance?
Oh yeah.
Keep them guessing?
Definitely. I throw it at any count, any time. I'm comfortable with it. Throw it like it's a fastball. So it works out perfectly.
Do you ever like to get ahead of the hitters with a lot of the breaking pitches?
Yeah, I'll get them on the front foot. Then they don't know what's coming if I'm throwing first pitch, changeup, or curveball.
Oh, wow. So what about from a standpoint of a mentor? We talked about guys that obviously were influential to you. But what about guys that you looked up to, whether it be maybe a high school coach or a college coach? Who's the one person, or maybe a lot of people, it's sometimes their dad, who's one person that you've looked up to in the game of baseball that has always stood out to you, that has given you great advice and has really allowed you to keep going?
Definitely my dad. I've been big with my dad. He works with me a lot. He tells me, no one's better than you. You can do it, which helps out a lot. He's not a pitcher or left-handed, but definitely does his best as he can to help me out. Definitely say my dad.
Wonderful. All right, well, we're visiting with Chipper Smith here on Inside the Dog Pound. When we come back, we'll get Chipper's take on the 2009 season so far. Do not go anywhere. It's Inside the Dog Pound right here on Time Warner Cable.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs?
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Dog Pound here on Time Warner.